Chuck Schumer getting totally taken down by CNN today. Now, whether this was deliberate or not, I'm going to ask you your opinion on this. I, having been in the media business as long as I have this like sneaky feeling that it was totally Chuck Schumer not wanting to answer the question. Now, it could have been his IFB, his earpiece, just having gone out, and that's how they're playing it. But let's watch the clip together, and you tell me what you think. Is this Chucky boy looking for an exit path? Because everybody's calling this the Schumer shutdown. Watch.
Every Republican who's gone on TV the last 12 hours or so has called this the Schumer shutdown. What do you say about that name?
Chucky?
Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Oh, that's interesting.
Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
So did you notice how he said, I can't hear? As soon as the anchor said, can you hear me? I mean, that's just sort of my little suspicion. Do you not want to answer that question? We'll give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm a nice person and say it was just the IFB. Actually, he should be kind of honored that they're calling it the Schumer shutdown because apparently it's the AOC shutdown.
I think Senator Schumer can hear me right now. Maybe the government shutdown included audio on Capitol Hill.
No. That was either Chucky trying to get away from the question or, as I said, maybe he should have welcomed it. Maybe, with bells on, he should have said, you better believe this is all about me and I care passionately about this because I'll tell you, the woman who is chomping at his heels, one AOC who wants to become the next senator from New York, and I'll tell you, Chucky's numbers are lousy. And for some reason, don't ask me why, this lady has appeal. She's moronic. She's effectively a communist. She rides around in a private jet to do her, fight the oligarchy tour. Yeah, I'm talking about one AOC who talks about being from, where does she say? From the Bronx, even though she grew up in a Tony Westchester suburb. Yeah, one AOC. Listen to her talking about how she's in control of all this.
What I'm not going to do is tolerate 4 million uninsured Americans because Donald Trump decided one day that he wants to just make sure that kids are dying because they don't have access to insurance. That's what's not going to happen. And so if those senators think that we're having a shutdown because of me, they're free to enter my office and negotiate, because what we're not going to do is allow all of millions of people in this country to not be able to afford their insulin and their chemotherapy. So come strike a deal with me if that's what they really think is going on.
Come deal with you? Well, that's interesting. So are you the one that's controlling this? You see, this is what's being floated. Apparently, because she wants Chuck Schumer's seat so badly, he's on thin ice. And he would have left himself open and vulnerable to this New York congresswoman coming after him in an attack. So then it becomes sort of myopic. This is about Chuck Schumer trying to save his you-know-what, as opposed to doing what's right for the country. Don't forget the last time, when they got a little Band-Aid through. Remember, he kept saying how important it was because we couldn't shut down the government. We couldn't. Well, now he's like all about it. Like, how does that make sense? So Nancy Pelosi, his partner in crime, was asked about this today, and I want you to hear what she had to say. I think that AOC is getting on, or under their skin.
It was a thought from the Republicans that AOC is directing this, and she said that senators are welcome to go to her office directly. Is she driving that?
Why are you saying such a ridiculous thing?
I'm just quoting what AOC said. She said go to her office directly. Do you think there's any credibility to that?
She's not directing this. She's wonderful. She's a real team player and the rest of that. You started by saying Republicans saying that she's directing this. She is not. Hakeem Jeffries is. And this takes a lot of experience, a lot of unity from the caucus in terms of the point of view. And that's what this is. She's an articulate spokesperson for her point of view, Hakeem Jeffries.
That kind of seemed like a dig to me. Did it not to you? Oh, yeah, she's wonderful. She's wonderful. But, this takes experience. Oh, believe me. lady, you got a lot of years of experience. So does Chucky. I mean, this is the problem with your entire party. You don't have any new blood. Nobody new coming along. I mean, you can say, okay, Trump's older, but guess what? He was new. He was fresh. He hadn't been in a political life his entire life, right? He wasn't just a politician. He had actually been a businessman. He knew what it was like to operate in the real world, unlike these people. And so now Chucky is hostage to AOC because AOC knows if he goes along with this, she can go on the attack. So you see how this becomes about sort of micro things as opposed to macro things. It's about Chucky trying to cover his own you-know-what, his own behind, and AOC seizing an opportunity as opposed to what it really should be. I'll tell you who gets this. Speaker Mike Johnson. You heard him say it, right, with Georgie Stephanopoulos earlier on ABC this morning. He also mentioned it with Laura Ingraham last night, and I'll tell you, he's spot on. Listen to this.
The GOP bill to keep the government open may be getting the support of 3 Democrats now in the Senate. So the dam may be breaking, but Schumer's, I mean, he's putting his foot down, is he not?
Yeah, he is, and you nailed it there, Laura. Hit the nail right on the head. He's doing that for his own benefit. Remember what happened in March. We had a CR. He had to do the right thing to keep the government
resolution,
open. That's right.
Hill geek.
Yes, that's it. To keep the government open so we could do our jobs, Chuck Schumer went out and said it would be so dangerous to shut the government down. Remember? We have him on tape. His entire career he's been saying that. Now he has suddenly shifted gears. Why? He's afraid of AOC. He thinks he's going to get challenged in the next election, so he has to fight Trump, even if it means throwing the American people under the bus. That's exactly what's going on, and I think Senate Democrats understand that. They don't want to be along for the ride.
Well,
right. Okay, so that's the problem now. You have imbeciles like AOC calling the shots. AOC, who is aligned with the communist comrade Mamdani, who wants to become the next mayor of New York City. And what is his solution? Oh, he's going to tax every corporation, he's basically going to lose all business, the little that New York City has left. This is who she sees herself aligned with. Let's take a peek. Oh, he went on The View, where they love him. They love him. They love him until they realize they'll have no money because he's going to take it all, along with ABC's money. Oh, well, ABC will just have to relocate its studio, maybe to Connecticut or New Jersey or someplace else. New Jersey's high taxes too. Connecticut as well. Here's my advice. Go to New Hampshire. Live free or die in New Hampshire. No state income tax, no sales tax. They're phasing out the dividend tax. You can't beat it. Anyway, I digress. Here is Mr. Comrade Mamdani, AOC's BF, on The View.
So one of the things that I've heard you talk about is making the city affordable for everybody, and that you're going to, put a tax on people who make over $1 million or whatever. But what I want to know
with an
is,
exception for Joy.
Think again, my friend. But listen, on day one, why aren't you going to big corporations like Amazon and Google and making sure that they pay what could really help the city raise up and get us where we need to do? Because I need to hear somebody say, because it's the thing nobody says. They say, oh, we're going to make people pay, but they're not clear. They came in, they said, we're going to make these jobs, people are going to have these, they're going to have work, but then they had to fight to unionize because they're not getting paid enough.
Absolutely.
So I don't understand why the focus, if the focus is for New Yorkers to be lifted, and New York State to be lifted and put in the right perspective, why the focus isn't on the companies that could be doing a lot more for the places have their places, but it doesn't happen.
Instead of the individual, or including the individual tax base. You mean corporations should...
As I said, Amazon and Google, corporations who don't seem to pay the same kinds of taxes everyone else pays.
Look, if you were running for mayor, I'd be voting for you. Because I think, Whoopi, to your point, the corporate greed that we're seeing in this country it cannot be separated from the level of inequality that people are living through. And one of the key revenue proposals I've put forward, you know, our agenda from the day we started was about freezing the rent for more than 2 million tenants, making the slowest buses in the country fast and free, delivering universal childcare. So no longer would a family pay $25,000 a year just to find childcare for one kid. And what we've said is that two of the main ways we pay for it, one of them would be to raise the top corporate tax rate. This is a corporate tax rate that applies to the most profitable companies that do business in the state, like the ones that you've named, to that of New Jersey. So it would just match that of our neighbor, 11.5% that they have over there. By matching our neighbor, we would raise $5 billion a year. And that would be money we could reinvest into working in middle-class New Yorkers' lives so that everyone could afford it.
So you don't think that would drive them out of the city then?
No, so the nature of our tax law is that applies to any business doing business here. They could be headquartered in Miami, but if they're doing business here, it applies to them. And the reason that I believe they'll keep doing business here is because this is one of the largest economies in the world. Everyone wants to be here.
And he's the mayoral candidate, I should specify, not the mayor of New York City, not yet. But I'll tell you, the polls are looking good for him, shockingly so. What's going to happen to New York City? And forgive me, I forgot that New Jersey had even higher corporate taxes. You know what? Companies are going to leave. They're going to go to Florida. They're going to go to Texas. I mean, you've already seen a massive migration, have you not, to Florida, including in the financial services sector? Who the heck needs it? I mean, you're going to live in an unsafe city where, let's not talk about what has happened on the subways. Thank you very much. Kathy Hochul couldn't even remember the victim's name. You know what I'm talking about. I just don't want to get too graphic. And it's been a tough couple weeks, right? But it is awful what is going on in New York City. The crime is awful. And sure, you got a lot of poverty, you got a lot of problems, but is your answer to say, okay, we're going to tax everybody who has anything, because it costs a lot of money, let me tell you, to live in New York City? Is your answer to say, oh, well, we don't want Amazon here? I mean, that's an AOC answer. Remember when AOC had an opportunity to get like tons and tons and tons of $100,000 jobs? Thousands of them in Queens. And she said, oh, we don't want Amazon. No, we're not going to take that company. And they said basically, F you, thank you very much. We don't need to be in Queens. They were trying to do her a favor. You know what? They don't get it, because fundamentally, they're all a bunch of communists. And when you got a bunch of communists running the show, you got a real problem. I mean, this is not who our country is. It's never what our country was ever. I mean, we were founded on principles of freedom, and with that freedom comes economic freedom. Does it not? I mean, real economic freedom. I mean, this is what makes us so special, that you have an opportunity here, unlike anywhere else, right? We've talked about this before. I have cousins that live in France. I have cousins that live in Ireland too. But there's no, I haven't talked about this with my Irish cousins, but in France, it's like there is no French dream. There's nothing like that. There's no Indian dream. There's no Chinese dream. It's the American dream. Why? Because we set up structure, thanks to our brilliant founding fathers, that allows for the protection of you as an individual, that allows for the protection of your property as well. You can't have a Mamdani or an AOC coming along and trying to take it all. That's pretty important stuff, guys. All right, and this is what they thought about 250 years ago. We are coming up on the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. It's a big one. Okay, I'm going to be singing. I need to start playing my God Bless America stuff, right? That's why I'm in gold today. Anyway, Americans for Prosperity is calling on you, as am I, in partnership with them, to be part of this. They're launching a One Small Step campaign, kicking it off with the 250,000 Steps for Freedom Challenge. It's a national call to action, everyone. One of the largest grassroots mobilizations in the country is to protect our freedoms and to reignite the American dream that we love and need to protect. So every step counts. Go ahead and visit this site, because they'll give you just some ideas. I mean, it may just be having some friends over for tea or having a dinner party on a Friday night where you talk about how this country was founded. Like, have those conversations with your community. Visit Take One Small Step to get started. TakeOneSmallStep.com to get started. Let me make sure I have that. Take one small step. There we go, on the screen. Let's fight, right, for what makes America special together. It is really important that we remember that, because we are special and we are unique, unlike any other country in the world. And you got these bozos out there saying, hey, we want to just make ourselves global and we're going to bring everybody here and we're going to give them everything. Listen, we are a country of immigrants, don't get me wrong. right? And we'll never lose sight of that. But our ancestors came here legally, and that wasn't easy. You know, I think about my own ancestors and the potato famine and the stories my grandmother used to tell me. I think about how, you know, my great-great-grandmother got here and she was ill, and her 2 little children wound up in an orphanage because as a father, the great-great-grandfather had to go and work in the factory and be able to make some money. And, you know, and that was a time and a day and age. And I'm not, don't get me wrong for 2 seconds. I mean, this is why we do have some government assistance, and this is why we need church assistance and community assistance. Don't get me wrong. But they wound up in an orphanage, and he would walk by every night after his shift at the factory was done, and he would wave to them. And you know what? I'm going to get like teary-eyed, but they went on to live the American dream. And that's why they came here. And that is why people come here. But we've got to find a way to do this legally. We can't just open the spigot and say, okay, everyone's in. Like, that's not the way this works. And so, you know, I realize this is just a big, giant spin game right now. I'm looking at some of the sound, and for goodness sakes, you've got this Governor Pritzker, you know, out of Illinois. He's freaking out because they're going to start going into Illinois pretty soon. Yeah, they're sending the National Guard into Chicago to try and get that place cleaned up. And, you know, he's furious. He said the President of the United States decided to shut down the government because he's unwilling to sit down and discuss things with Democrats. That's his view on it right now. Well, they did sit down. They did discuss things. And you know what the sticking point was? That $1 trillion. $1 trillion that we don't have, that was set to expire. Like, that's it, guys, okay? You're not going to be able to keep that money going. And that's what they're throwing a temper tantrum over. That's why AOC is throwing a fit, and she's seizing a political opportunity as well.